So let's try this again. This is the third time. We'll see if it's working. I'm going to go tag everybody and see if I can get them all in. Okay, it won't let me tag everybody because I don't know why. Maybe it's only letting me tag people that I'm friends with. But hopefully you can find it. And I'm just going to go for it because this is the third time I've done this. So I have to get it done. It's my daughter's birthday. All right, which is why I chose tomorrow to start, because today's my daughter's birthday and I didn't want to have a lot of stuff going on today. Anyway, okay, right. Let's get going. Welcome to the quest. Now, I want to say the reason that I've called it the quest is because this is an exploration. This is us exploring what's going to work well for you. And what works well for you won't necessarily work well for me. We're all different. And so therefore we need different things. And that's why we're doing a quest versus a challenge. Now, when I originally thought of this, there's like some sound on my phone. I was just seeing if I could cover it up, but I won't. It's not going to work. But originally when I thought of this, I thought of it as a challenge. I was like, yes, let's do a challenge. I'm going to challenge myself to this and so on and so forth. And then as I got more into it, I realized it actually needs to be a quest, not a challenge, in the sense that a quest is more about going on an exploration and exploring things. And so that's what we need to do. So the way that I have currently structured the quest is with a series of fasts. Now, this first week, all I want you to do for the first week is eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. You can eat herbs and spices, but nothing else. So I don't want you to be eating cheese. I don't want to be doing yogurt. I don't want you to be doing anything else. Now, you may choose after this week to eat keto, or you might choose to eat low carb, high fat, or you may choose to eat carnivore. Whatever in that sort of parameter works for you, go with that. But for this very first week, what we want to do is only eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And the other thing that I want you to do is to start to test and monitor. Now, if you have not yet got your blood glucose monitor, try and get it as quickly as you can. So what we want is a blood glucose monitor that does both ketones and blood glucose. Now, I have got the Freestyle Optimum. I've put a link in the, below the welcome information for being able to buy this particular one direct from an eBay seller, because that's usually the cheapest, easiest place to get it from. I've put that link there for that, along with what we need are these strips. So I've got blood glucose, which is blue, and blood ketones, which are purple. Now these ones, the ketone ones, are $1 a piece pretty much. Now it depends on where you buy them from. I usually buy them from eBay, but I have found that some local chemists are selling them for $9.95. So it's about $1 per strip, because you get 10 strips for that $9.95. So we want both of these. You'll need at least 90 of these. Well, maybe you don't necessarily need 90 of them, but it depends. If you're like me and really want to watch what's actually happening with your blood glucose, you'll want more of these rather than less. But what we want to do for this first week is start to track our fasting blood glucose and ketones. Now, if you don't yet have your monitor, don't stress, start tracking when you get it. But ideally, we want it as soon as we possibly can, so that we can start looking at what is known as your GKI. Now, if you are in Australia, then your blood glucose monitor is measured in micromilliliters. And that micromilliliters is going to give us a number that is around, hopefully under a 7. But it'll give us a number that's, single to double digits. So it'll be like 6.9 or something like that. So that's what we want to be seeing with our blood glucose monitor if you're in Australia. And then to measure your GKI, I have put a video up on how to blood test and how to do that. But to measure your GKI, what we want to do is then go blood glucose. So blue strips, blood glucose. Then we want to divide that number by our ketones. So if, for example, it is 5.0 and your ketones are 1.0, that number is going to be 5. So what we're looking for is, our goal is to get under a 3. Like under a 3, we're in a really great state of autophagy. So autophagy is the process of eating thyself, where our body's going through and it's eating up waste proteins, it's eating up waste fat and so on, and it's actually breaking that down. And it's going to be regenerating and cleaning up our cells. Plus, it also means that we're burning fat as our major fuel source. Now, you'll be burning fat as a fuel source anywhere in a GKI of like 9 and under, but the smaller that number, the more fat we're going to be burning. Now, if you are in the US, your GKI number is your blood glucose, because your blood monitors measure a different number. So it's your blood glucose divided by 18.2, and then divide that by your ketones. So there's just one extra bit of math that you need to do to get to your GKI number. So I will put up a slide later about what we're looking for when it comes to our GKI and what numbers we're looking for. But our goal is to try and get as close to a 3 as we possibly can. Now, when it comes to our fasting state, so the first week is just beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. That's what we're doing. We want to watch and see how is our body responding to beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. No cheese, no any other types of dairy, no seafood, no chicken, no any of those types of things. Just beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. Now, if you've got a beef allergy or an issue with beef, you can do lamb. Lamb is a happy alternative. It's a ruminant animal, so we can do lamb as well. But I just want 1 week of like clean eating, and you can use herbs and spices. So the other things you don't want to eat this week are artificial sweeteners. So if, for example, you've been having, say, a Diet Coke or a no sugar Coke or a no sugar product, like you want to not have those this week, because, or throughout this challenge ideally, because what it will do is it'll actually trigger your insulin, and it'll mean that your insulin stays high, or it's harder for your body to get that insulin number down, because that insulin is staying high. And so the alternative sweetener triggers a receptor in our mouth and in our stomach that tells our body to produce insulin, because there's something sweet around, we need some insulin. And so because of that, it's going to be doing the opposite of what we're trying to do while we're doing this 90-day quest. So you do want to avoid your no sugar products and your alternative sweeteners for this challenge. So we want to measure our blood glucose so that we know what it is. We want to track it. So if you haven't yet got yourself a little tracking book, get yourself a tracking book. I will send out, I'll send out my little PDF as well. So if you want to just make your own little tracking book, you can. Basically, for me, I could show you. I'll just pick one of the pages. I've got so many pages in here now, because like I'm up to 304 days, something like that. Where are you? There's a page that I could use, because this was a book that I had not intended to use for this purpose. So essentially I just, it was a journal that I was using for different things. Okay, so this is like from months ago, January. I have blood glucose. Now I also now have another column for ketones, because I want to be measuring ketones. I have weight. I measure my weight every day, and then once a week I measure my actual body measurements. So that's my basic thing. It's like not neat and tidy. It's messy as all heck. But you can certainly make yours a lot neater than mine. But we want to track it. So we want to keep it somewhere so that we've got a record of what's actually happening for your body and what's working. And that's the point of the quest. The point of the quest is to figure out what works for you. Not works for me, not works for anybody else, but what works specifically for you and what works best for you. So if you've had a look at the fasting little things so far, week 1's beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. The next week is a different eating fast, and it's a different eating fast for about 5 weeks. So we're going to try out 5 different eating fasts to see how we go. I will be dropping in here some recipes for particular fasting. So for example, for broth, I'm going to put in some recipes for how to make different broths. For the butter fast, I will put in maybe a couple of different butter type recipes. There's not much to them really, guys. It's just eat butter, but you can mix it with a little bit of vanilla essence. For example, you could mix it with some cinnamon. For example, you could make creamed butter. You could put that butter into something hot. You could make, say, broth on the butter fast, but you want to skim off the fat. So you would make your broth, put it in the fridge, let the fat come to the top and skim that off, because we don't want the animal fat there. We want the butter as our fat. And so you can then have like a skimmed broth that you put like butter into. There's multiple different ways of getting that butter in, or you can just be, I'm pretty dirty over here in the sense of like, I can't be bothered doing a lot of stuff, and I don't have the equipment to do a lot of stuff. So it has to be super simple for me. So I'm probably just going to eat butter and see how I go. And so we'll see what actually happens. And the point is that we want to blood glucose test while we're doing it. So we want to make sure that we're testing our blood glucose and we're testing our ketones while we're doing those fasts, so that we can go, which one of these is actually the best for you? Which, or maybe 2 or 3 that are actually giving you really good results. So for example, you might find through this process that the butter fast and the sardine fast give you the best results, give you the best GKI scores. Now, if that's the case, then when we move to the second phase, which is, it'll just, in the comments, it will have a 24-hour, or it might have a 48-hour eating fast. Now, what that means is we're going to pick the best ones for you. So for example, if the beef and butter fast was the best one for you, great. On that day, all you're eating is beef and butter. If the best one was the sardine one, okay, on that day, you're going to be eating the sardines. If it was the butter one that was the best for you, or the broth one that was best for you, great. On that one, you're going to eat the broth. And that is the actual goal, is that we take, when it comes to the eating fast, we take the ones that gave us the best results and the best outcomes. We're going to repeat those ones. And that will be different for all of us. So for example, you might find that the sardine one gave you the best results, but you can't do 72 hours of sardines. Like, it's just like beyond your capacity to do. What you might do for your alternative day fasting then is go, okay, I'm going to do one of those fasts as a sardine fast and the other as, say, beef and butter fast, because those were the 2 that gave me the best results. So we'll explore this as we go through it as well. So don't feel like you have to know this all now, but that's what it is. Now, Fridays at 8 p.m. we'll be doing our live Zoom calls. I'm going to be putting the events up in here. So the Zoom links will be in here. I will also put them into a PDF and send that out to you as well. So you'll get an email of those calls as well, just so that you know when those live calls are and you can jump on the action. Now, once a week, I'm going to give you a prompt. So I'm going to give you a journal prompt as well. So tomorrow will be the first day that I drop our first journal prompt. And what I want you to do is you can either answer that in the Facebook group, or you can come back to your journal and you can journal on that. You can allow yourself to think about that for the week. And then on Fridays, what we'll do is we're actually going to talk about that. And so on Friday, we'll have our live Zoom calls and we're actually going to talk about what's actually happening, what came up for you with those promptings, and so on and so forth. So there's that. I'm just going through all my little bits and pieces. So blood glucose monitor, get that ASAP if you don't already have it. If you do have it, make sure you've got strips, and we want to start testing tomorrow, at least your blood glucose, if not your ketones as well. So if, for example, you test tomorrow and your blood glucose is reasonably high and your ketones are reasonably low, you don't need to test every day this week. What you might do though is test on Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday as well, just to see, has that changed throughout the week? So there's that. Just going to move stuff around. Now, for me personally, I test my weight every day. I've had a whole week and a half off of doing any tracking or testing because I knew that I was starting this quest. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to have a break from my normal routine of tracking my weight. I'm holding it upside down, but tracking my weight and all of the stuff. I'm just going to have a break. so that I can start afresh on tomorrow. So I like to measure my weight every day. Now, the key thing is to not let this be a mind fuck. And what I mean by that is don't let it be, oh my God, my weight is terrible and I didn't like lose weight or whatever. And so therefore I'm going to like starve myself and not eat, etc., etc. No, this is just data. All we're doing is collecting and collating data to find out how is your body responding to what we're giving it, to what we're providing it. And all of that is information for me. So for example, if you come back on Friday and you go, you know what, I gained weight this week, no worries. Like, I'm not bothered by that, because the intention of this first week is to fill up your nutritional cup, because that's the space that we want to fast from. We don't want to fast from depleted and undernourished and like missing and lacking stuff. We don't want to fast from that place. We want to fast from the place of like, I'm so full and I'm happy and I'm satiated that, you know, if I'm doing a sardine fast and I eat 3 cans of sardines, I'm not going to die because like I'm actually really not hungry. So we want to come from that full cup. So don't be stressed if you gain weight this week. You might lose weight, you might not. Don't let that be the thing that stops you. So every day I like to measure my actual weight. So if you don't have a scale, go get one maybe. But remember, we just want it for data, because as we up out and we lift up things like, you know, the beef butter and we eat more eggs, then what we're likely to do is actually increase muscle mass. And so from that perspective, you might find that you gain weight, not necessarily, you might not necessarily be bigger, but you might have actually gained some muscle this week. All right. So the other thing that if you haven't already got a measuring tape, get one. This is not my favorite. My favorite is the one that you clip it on and it actually helps you measure. I haven't got one of those again yet, but it's on my to-do list. So what I would do tomorrow morning, wake up, test your blood glucose, your ketones, so you've got a base level. Where are we starting from? And then what I want you to do is test your weight. Where are we starting from? And I want you to measure. So take your measurements tomorrow. Where are we starting from? Measure your arms, your thighs, your chest, your waist, your hips. Some people might like to measure their neck, anything else that you want to measure, but the basic 5, you know, arms, chest, waist, hips, thighs, are the ones that I would generally measure. So get your measuring tape and measure. So we have a starting number. Now, the next thing, I like to measure once a week. So I probably have only been measuring once a fortnight recently. But now while I'm doing this quest, I'm going to measure every week, because I want to know, where am I actually losing the weight from? Because that also can tell me what's happening hormonally for you. So for example, if you're losing weight around your arms and your thighs, then that tells me that you're likely to be improving things like your thyroid. If you're losing weight around your middle, then you're improving your adrenals. If you are gaining weight in either of those areas, then it tells me that there's some stress in one of those areas as well. And that might then mean I say to you, I know that you're not feeling hungry in the morning, but you need to eat first thing when you get up within the first hour of the day. So that's that element of it. Okay, what else? We've got my phone. So I've asked you to download a couple of apps. And those apps are in particular ones that are going to help us track. So the Life app, which is this one here. The Life app is our fasting app. Now, it tells us how long we've been fasting for. So, for example, when we're starting a butter fast, it doesn't start until we have our first bite of butter. When we're starting a sardine fast, it doesn't start until we have our first can of sardines. If we're having a broth fast, it doesn't start until we have our first bite of, or our first cup of broth. And so what we want to do is download the Life app. I have got a specific group for us. So if you click on the link that I've sent out or put up into the Facebook group, you'll get to our actual link. Oh gosh. No, I don't want to decline that. I hadn't prepared myself for signing my husband into this app. Like I was just like, yes, let's go. because I was trying to do it on my computer so I could show you all my apps. But hopefully I won't need face. Hopefully it won't let me. Hopefully it doesn't require my face or his face to actually do. So download the Life app now. Oh yes, fabulous. Okay, so what you're going to get is let's see if I can. You're going to get this type of screen. It's corn off. Essentially, it's a little circle type of tracker. Okay. I've got to go through all the setup stuff. Give me a sec. We'll get there. If you're watching the replay, #replay, I've just got this piece of paper because the sun is right there on this. Done. I've done all of that. Okay. You should get this screen here. Now, when you're in our group, you should be able to access, like, what will happen is in the group, it'll tell us that you've done your thing. So what we want is we can preset here. See where it says 16? We can preset how long we want the fast to go for. So when we're doing a 24-hour fast, we're just going to click that into 24 hours. And then when we have our first bite of whatever it is that we're having, we're going to click start. Yes, please send me a notification. Allow. So it can send you notifications when you get to certain elements. So for example, you can see right up the top there where that fire is, that's where we're going to start that space of getting into our ketosis. And so it's going to keep tracking that number. And then when we're finished, what we do is we click end and it will bring us to this screen and tell us how long we went for, etc., and give us the outcome basically of just helping us to track those numbers. Now we can set this for different times for different things. And you can do that in the actual group as well. And that's going to tell us, yay, she's done her fast. Well done. Congratulations. Now, the other app that I have got you to download is this little Voice Voxer app here. Now, if you click on the app, it's going to make me set up an account for my husband. Yes. Okay. Let's log in. Sign in with Facebook. You don't have to sign in with Facebook. You can sign in any way you want, but I'm just trying to do it quickly for him because Ben is not on any of these things. So let's go. All right. So, oh, look, there I am. I am in Voxer. So I've just opened it up into me. Now, what's going to happen is you can come. So I mentioned that on Mondays, I'm going to give out the prompt for the week. So I'll give the journal prompt for the week, and you can, if you want to, come and brainstorm or share that in here. So you would just click on the little walkie-talkie thing. Cancel. Don't want that. Cancel. So you would just click on the little walkie-talkie button down the bottom. Hey, Christina, how you going? I just wanted to let you know that you can set it as well. So this one here is because of how it is. I haven't set it up yet. So basically, you have to hold it to talk. Now, what you want to do is go up into the settings section where it says more options. And it'll say there's a little tab up here that says tap to talk. So if I click on that little tap to talk, what that means is now instead of holding that button down to talk, all I've got to do is tap it. It's really hard to do one-handed. All I've got to do is tap it, and now I'm talking. So this green bar just basically says she's talking, and I can hear you in real time. Now, afterwards, if I want to listen to this a little bit faster, so let's say I now want to listen to the previous recorded one. Down here, down the bottom, I have to play it at the same time, but down the bottom is a little ×1. I can click that and make that go faster. So you can hear the messages faster by doing that. So I let you know that because, one, don't feel like you have to be like on there and talk really fast and get it all done. No, you're allowed to actually take your time, talk and think and process what you're saying at the same time. So like I said, you can do those journal prompts in your journal, or you can come and put it in here. Now that's where our Voxer Voice group coaching is. We can talk about all sorts of things in there. We can talk about the prompt for the week. We can talk about, okay, how are you going with beef, butter, bacon, and eggs? What's working for you? Have you got any challenges there? Do you need any support or anything like that? You can come and put that in that space. You can also put that in the Facebook group. I will say, if you need me to respond to that, tag me in it, like tag my name so that I get a notification that that's there, and I can come and have a look at it. But basically, those are the two big support spaces throughout the week, is in that Voxer group and in that Facebook group. Now, you can come and talk about those things. I'm going to be sort of journaling in there, essentially how I'm going. Okay, day 1, beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, smashed it, did it, doing so good, all of that type of stuff. Or like, oh my God, it's really hard today. Everybody else is eating blah, blah, blah. Like you can certainly come and put those things in there as well. So those are the two apps, the Voxer app and the Life app. Now, the other thing that we'll be using is on Friday nights at 8 p.m. is our Zoom calls. And so the first part of that will be, let's talk about this next phase, the instructions of what we need to do, how we do this fast, etc., etc. Get all of that detail out of the way. And then we'll be talking about the second half, which is like, what came up for you with the prompting? What came up for you this week? What challenges did you have this week? And we'll be doing that in the second half of that session. So depending on what you're hoping to get from the group, you can just log on for the instructions and leave if you don't want to do the coaching bit, or you can stay for the whole thing. It's completely up to you. So that is how the group is going to run. Remember, this week, beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. If you haven't got your blood glucose monitor, go get that, get it sorted. Get your ketone measuring sticks and strips and your blood glucose strips. If you want to go get bloods done from your doctor, this would be a really good time to get them done so that you can again get them retested at the end. I'll put a list of bloods that I think everyone should be getting from their doctors, just generally speaking. Anyway, I'll put a list of those in, and yeah, we'll go from there. If you have any questions, let me know. And if you have any recipes as well, like if you've found a really particularly good recipe for beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Oh, I will say, seasoning wise, you can add onions and garlic. Those are two things you can add too, because they're counted as a herb and a seasoning. So you can add those to it as well. If you are a coffee drinker, I'm going to let you continue your coffee drinking, but don't add any alternative sugar to it. And you can add butter, but not cream. All right. Again, if you have any questions, you need any more specifications, let me know, and I will answer them in the group. Otherwise, bye for now. Have fun this week, and I will talk to you soon. Keep an eye out for the events. See you later.